Hello and welcome to Guild Wars Players News, the podcast where we take a look at Guild Wars games series news and talk about content on our site, Guild Wars Players. I'm Sithrith, and today we have Draculetta.
Hey, everybody.
And we have Athelros.
Hey.
Okay.
That was
Hey.
actually almost a happy sounding hey.
That was
That was semi-happy. What's going on? Okay.
Alright, anyway, so after that awkward bit of Athelros not being monotone curmudgeon, we don't have a whole lot of news this week for the game. We did get some information about new gold selling limits, and when they posted this article, it hadn't happened yet, but it has now gone into place. In theory, though, this should only affect a very, very small amount of people. Basically, starting March 31st, they have changed it so that you will only be able to receive up to 500 gold per account in the mail from other players. This does not affect trading post stuff. It's just how much mail you can get from other players. And so, like I said, it doesn't seem like it's going to affect a whole lot of players because probably not a whole lot of people are sending more than 500 gold to other people every week. But if you do somehow manage to receive more than 500 gold in a week, basically it'll just stay in your mail until like a week after you've collected it, and then you'll be able to pick it up again. And so it's not like it's going to disappear or anything. Basically, the idea behind this is to help fight against gold spammers, gold scammers, and fraud, because some people use the LFG tool to sell, I guess, for some reason, and people can get kind of, messed up with that because they'll be like, oh, I'll sell you this legendary for less than it is on the trading post, and people are like, oh, okay, and then they send them the gold, and then they never get the legendary. So this is basically
That reminds me of the old I'll trim your rune armor from RuneScape. The old tactic of, I'll do this service for you, and you actually can't do it, but people give you money and then they never say anything back, and they're just gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I have never seen, a gold spammer message ever.
You must be really lucky. I see them all the time.
No, I never have. I was about to say, is it, a big problem? Because
I see them all the time.
I guess I'm just lucky enough to either not see them or I just ignore the fact that I saw them, I guess. But yeah.
I mean, I've seen people post links to gold selling sites in, I think it was the PvP
map chat.
Map chat, yeah. But that's the only place.
Yeah, I've never seen that. So,
I've had it. It used to be that it was always whispered to me. Like I'd get IMs all the time, and I'd have to report them and block them and stuff. Haven't gotten a whisper in a long time, but I've seen in map chat, especially like you said in the PvP lobby, I've seen a lot of it lately. But I've also seen it in Radasum and the Grove and stuff. So I don't know. I must just log in. Maybe it's because I'm in a closer time zone to certain areas where
that could be
gold farming is, a thing. I don't know. Or I'm just super lucky and, I don't know, they're you seem like a really prime candidate for buying gold because you're poor. I don't know. But yeah, so that's in place. It really shouldn't affect a whole lot of people. So don't worry too much about it, I don't think. On top of that, we also got some information about personal story updates. We've talked a little bit about it in the past. They've been saying for a while that, they realized that they kind of screwed up with the new player experience that they introduced in September, where they took out certain chapters of the personal story and they rearranged other chapters of the personal story. So they realized that was not a good idea, and it creates a lot of continuity errors when you're doing the personal story. I'm sure if you've gotten, especially, I think it's past chapter 7 or so, the level 70 story or so, you probably have noticed that you'll be interacting with characters who act like you've met them a while ago, but you don't know who they are, and then all of a sudden, a couple instances later, you get introduced to them, or you have to protect an orb, and it's never really explained what the heck the orb is, kind of thing. So they're changing it around, they're restoring it to its previous order, and they are bringing back the previous chapter that they took out. And on top of that, they're also adding in some additions, but mostly just in the form of new art assets. They're redoing some voiceovers, including Traherne is getting a new voiceover. Apparently people complain about his quality of voiceover doesn't match the tone of the dialogue he's supposed to be saying, so they're redoing some of that stuff. They have this whole big FAQ of what is going on, because obviously people have a lot of questions. Unfortunately, if you've already done the personal story, you will not be able to reset it and experience this new update. In order to experience the newly restored personal story, you'll have to play it through on a different character. And basically, if you haven't gotten to a certain point, I think it's somewhere in chapter 7, they have the specific number in the FAQ. You should go see it. If you haven't gotten past a certain point, it won't matter much, because then you'll just get updated. So we've kind of been telling people for a while, like, if you're really interested in the story, maybe don't do it and wait for this update. It sounds like they are working on it quite a bit, though, so it should be ready soon, it sounds like. So yeah, it'll be good, and I'm very excited to experience that. I've been avoiding finishing the personal story on most of my characters because of that. And yeah, that's the personal story.
Yeah, that final instance change too is
probably
the biggest deal.
I forgot about that. Yes, there is a change they're making to the final instance of the personal story. Currently, the way it is you have to have a group and you have to do a dungeon run for the last instance, but they're changing it to be soloable. You can do it in a group anywhere from size 1 to size 5, so if you still want to do a full size dungeon type run thing, you'll be able to, but if you just want to get the story done and solo it, you can do that, which I know a lot of people are looking forward to, because I know a lot of people who have been playing way longer than I have who still haven't finished the personal story because they can't be bothered to do this dungeon. Apparently it's not a very popular dungeon. And basically the way they're changing that last dungeon also, it's called the Ruins of Ara, and they're making it so that the story mode of that dungeon, which is, the personal story bit, that will not be a dungeon anymore. That will only be available through the personal story, and the explorable paths of that dungeon will be unlocked for everyone once they get to level 80, because it's a level 80 dungeon. So, big changes for that. But yeah, I think that'll make a lot of people very happy.
Not so much us, because we already done it.
Yeah, this all comes in just in time, just after we did this whole thing twice. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Additionally, this week, ArenaNet posted a whole big kind of summary post of what's been happening in the story so far. And Thoros, I know you read through this and got spoiled a bit.
Well, by myself, pretty much.
Yeah, that's your own fault.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have somewhere that tells you like what all the stuff is happening, because obviously people who don't own the living story aren't going to be able to do it at this point without spending a whole lot of gems. And obviously the first season, I believe, you just can't do. So yeah, it's nice to have somewhere that'll like sort of explain everything just in time for Heart of Thrones when that comes out. So it's nice. I said what I said.
Okay.
But yeah, it's nice to have at least something that sort of summarizes everything.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Without having to go through the living story yourself.
Yeah, well, because we know you're a big fan of the living story. But yeah, so there are spoilers. Be warned if you want to experience it yourself or something. Don't click on that link. It's on our site. But if you do want to read up on what's happened so far, go for it. It's a really good summary. Also, this week's Points of Interest, which is ArenaNet's fortnightly live show where they talk about the game and they talk to developers and stuff. This week they're going to have the lead writer and the narrative director for the game on to talk about how they are quote-unquote integrating story into every part of Heart of Thorns. So that could be interesting, and it is good that they're integrating story into all of it. I like when it feels, holistic and like everything is connected. So that'll be good. So go watch Points of Interest. They host that on their Twitch channel. So yeah, that'll be up, I think, tomorrow. And also this week, specifically today, ArenaNet posted 3 articles today, which is, for me, just mind-blowing. But they also did a little spotlight on one of their staff members, Regina. I'm not even going to try to pronounce her last name because I know I will butcher it, and I don't want to do that. Regina B, we will say, because that is her last initial, and she basically runs all the social media stuff for ArenaNet. She does the Twitter, she does the Tumblr, she kind of is in charge of their Twitch channel, and yeah, she sounds pretty cool. She plays a Char Guardian of the Ash Legion, which is an interesting choice. But I approve because they included a screenshot of her character, and it is a very snazzy screenshot, and she has the Chauncey von Snuffles III cat mini pet.
Of course she does.
So I think she would fit in with Cat Players news. And I also thought it was really cool. Apparently it says she's a fan of the Char female character design, and she provided input on the race when it was still in development, and contributed a lot to that. And yeah, I think that's pretty cool. She appreciates the pragmatic Char outlook, their egalitarian society, and the importance of women in their history, which I agree. I'm big into like Char history and the female Flame Legion rebellion thing. That stuff's really cool to me. So Regina and I agree about Char stuff, basically. So yeah, go check out the Guild Wars 2 official site. There's a whole big spotlight on Regina and all the cool stuff she's done for the game, which is quite a bit. And Drek, we've got some sales this week.
Well, if you've ever wanted a Quaggan flying in on a balloon with an aviator headset on, now is your week to get it in the gem store. Why anybody would want a Quaggan on a balloon to deliver their mail to them is beyond me, but he is there.
And I will also note it is a baby Quaggan, not an adult Quaggan.
It's actually kind of a turn-off because the baby's kind of ugly looking.
That's the thing. Everybody thinks the baby Quaggans are so cute, but I disagree. I think the adult Quaggans look better.
I don't get the Quaggan thing, but that's just...
We know you don't buy into the Quaggan love.
I do not buy into the Quaggan love. I'm sorry. No Quaggan love from me, but it's all right. Also, there is Mad Scientist harvesting tools in.
They look kind of cool, actually.
They do look kind of cool. I watched a YouTube video of them. It looks pretty sweet when you shoot the thing out of the gun and it harvests the nodes for you.
Mm-hmm.
And also, they made a big update to the Black Lion chest. They have changed a few things that are in the chest, and they have also increased and decreased some drop rates. Mm-hmm. They have increased the drop rates for the teleport to a friend consumable and nice. Black Lion claim ticket scraps.
Also very nice.
So those should have an increased drop rate now. And then they added some new rare drops into them. You can get the mini super monkey, the mini super spider, the mini super bee dog, mini super yeti, the mini super raccoon, mini super banana. I have no idea. I kind of want one just because
mini super banana.
Who wouldn't want a banana following you around? I mean, seriously.
What's a bee dog?
It's a dog. It's a bee.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah, duh. Come on.
Gosh.
Also added Shadow die kits, Crimson Lion die kits, and the Glenn's Winter die kit. So those will be your rare drops. And they have removed the Toxic die kit, the Deathly die kit, the Metallurgic die kit, and Tammy's die kit are all removed from the Black Lion chest, so you shouldn't see those in your drop table anymore.
That's kind of weird. I don't know why they would remove those die kits.
Not sure, unless maybe they're trying to make them a little more rare, and then they'll bring them back later or something. I mean, I don't know.
Sort of a rotation, possibly.
Yeah, that's kind of what my thought was. They were they're trying to maybe balance out the economy on them a little bit too. Possibly.
Maybe. I'm glad they're increasing the drop rate on the scrap tickets though, because I've been sitting at 9 out of 10 scraps, and
me
you
too.
need 10 to get a full ticket. So, like, every time they introduce a new weapon set, they're, like, the new weapon set is each weapon is one full ticket, and it takes the 10 scraps, so I'm, like, just sitting here with just 10 scraps, I'm like, oh, I just need the one.
Yeah,
I just need one more.
I've been sitting there for, like, that ever, too, so I was happy to see that, so. But, of course, we all know my RNG luck, so I probably won't get one.
Well,
hey, it's
or
okay.
your streaming luck, so who cares? We'll
we'll get into that later.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the news. Oh, wait, except this week was April Fool's and they did a thing. And
people lost their freaking minds about this.
Well, and I know we all have some opinions about it. I don't know if I've actually talked to you, Drac, about it, though. Did you see it? Did you go in game?
I did, yes. Yes, I did.
And what were your... Well, okay, no, before we get into our thoughts, I guess we should describe it for those of you who missed this event. Basically, if you logged in on April 1st, you noticed that not just your character, but all characters had their arms stuck out from their sides like an airplane, and had an aviator cap on, and whenever you moved, your character made like airplane noises. If you had your post-processing turned up to high, you got a film grain effect and a very, very sepia tone effect. And when you died, some ragtime music played. So that's what happened. And Drac, yeah, how did you feel about this April Fool's event?
I thought it was funny. I didn't see a problem with it because I knew it wasn't going to last forever. I mean, it's not like it was a permanent
Here's a
thing.
question. How long did you play, though? Or did you just log in, see it, and log out?
No, I played for probably half hour, 45 minutes maybe.
Okay.
Something like that.
Tauros?
I logged in. I got my login rewards. I saw the effect, and I walked around a little bit. I said this was stupid, and then I logged off.
Yeah. Well, so I logged in, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Oh, this is cute. Oh, I can't believe they did this, like, April Fool's thing. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's neat. Haha. But then, after, like, 10, 15 minutes, I'm like, okay, I could do without this now.
What they probably should have done is giving you the option to turn it off.
Yeah. I mean...
Somehow is probably, like gave you some consumable or something that you clicked on, and if you clicked on that, the effect would turn off.
Yeah,
I guess what they should have done. See, they do stuff like this in the original Guild Wars all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, 1 year, it's been a couple years ago, everybody's gender was switched. So, like, female characters logged in, and they were suddenly male characters. And vice versa. And one time everybody had, like, giant heads, and one time everybody was, like, the size of your minis. Mm-hmm. So you were, like, little minis running around.
Yeah, apparently last year for Guild Wars 2, they had the bobblehead effect for April Fools. So.
You know, I guess I could see why people, because it did, I mean, I'll admit it did get kind of annoying, especially because I was, like, trying to do some map completion, so I was trying to jump up to some vistas, and it did get very annoying with that, because for some reason it was hard for me to jump with my arms sticking out. I'm not sure if that was just mentally I thought it was harder, or it actually was, but...
Thinking also of things like the personal story, people who actually, like, get invested in it, it's kind of off-putting.
Yeah, for
serious
like
story stuff
that,
when you have that effect going on.
Yeah, like personal story or living story or something, I guess I could see why I would be upset about it, but I just didn't quite see why people were so freaked out about the whole thing.
I mean, I saw people on both sides, people being like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever, like, how dare anybody say anything negative about it, and then I also saw people being like, whoever thought of this should be fired, and it's like, everybody just calm down.
Made the mistake of going on Reddit.
Yeah, me too.
And some of the comments on Reddit were just, like, crazy. And they were, like, comparing this. They said it was, like, they couldn't believe ArenaNet would do this right after, you know, that plane plane crash that just happened that killed all those people. And they're like, this is just rude. It's horrible. This is, like, a disrespect to anybody that's ever died in a plane crash. You know, I'm like, really? You're really comparing your little character in a game running around pretending they're an airplane to an actual airplane crashing? I'm just like, get a grip, people. It's a game, people. Like, it's a game. It's a joke. It was fun. Let's move on.
I mean,
I'm gonna say I think it's stupid
because of it, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's stupid, and that's why I didn't log in. But I'm not going to say, you know, it's offensive or anything. I just think it's
well, exactly. I mean, people just, I don't know. Like I said, people just freaked out about it. But
yeah. Well, anyway.
And I guess, to ArenaNet's credit, they did turn it off.
Yeah, it was only up for 24 hours.
Yeah. I think they actually ended it earlier than what it was originally intended to go off, because I guess they were just getting slammed with complaints about it, so...
I feel like whatever they do for April Fools, somebody's gonna, like, basically just whatever they do for anything, they're gonna get complaints, basically.
If they decide not to do it, people are gonna complain about that instead.
I mean, yeah, it's an MMO studio. Somebody will find a way to hate everything they do.
It's the old adage, you can't please everybody.
Exactly. So, yeah, that was April Fool's. Generally, I'm glad it's done, and we get to wait a whole another year for the next one. On to Guild Wars players' site news. We don't have a whole lot, but Drek, we do have new Sounds of Tyria from you this week.
Yes, we are still in the Guild Wars Nightfall soundtrack. This week, I took a look at the Gathering Storm.
Ooh.
And as I was going through the soundtrack to figure out which song I was going to feature this week, I learned something that I guess I never knew. I am a total sucker for a tribal drum beat.
Okay.
I never realized I liked the tribal drum beats as much as I do until I listened back to this song. And if you listen to it on the post I did, it's just like bombastic drums that just like beat. They start out slow and then they pick up, and then the like orchestra kicks in. Then near the end, and it's just like it's amazing. And I never realized I was into the tribal drum beat as much as I am until I listened back to this track when I picked it. So,
Interesting. Well, yeah, so everybody should go listen to that, because apparently it's got Drek's very large seal of approval.
apparently so. Shockingly so, yes.
And Atharos, I know you watched this week's video spotlight as well.
Yep, this is seeing a still more good use of the first-person feature that Arena put in recently. This is a really, really good example of that. Basically goes through showing all the different regions in Tyria, along with a bit of voiceover at the end, kind of showing what each zone sort of looks like with certain landmarks and whatnot. It is very well put together, I think, and has some good music in it too.
Yeah. I cried watching this video, which, like, if you're just like, what, it's just like landscape and stuff. The voiceover, I didn't expect it at all. Like, I thought it was just going to be like a pretty video with, you know, the first person camera and some nice music. And then the voiceover kicked in and I was like, wait, who is this? And then, like, a couple seconds later, I realized it was the voiceover of Tybalt during the Claw Island siege. And if you've gotten to that point in the personal story, and if you're an Order of Whispers agent, you'll know that that's a really emotional part of the story. And so I just, lots of tears, because I didn't expect that, and it was very good. So I definitely recommend this video. And this week's weekly community outfit is mine, again, because you guys aren't sending me pictures of your characters. Send me your pictures of your characters. I want to see, even if you don't even think it's a good character, like, send me your pictures of your characters and be like, oh, I want some advice on what kind of outfit. Like, just, I want to see your characters.
Well,
I love looking at characters.
I'm sending you a picture of my ranger, then.
Okay, good. I know what your ranger looks like. But yeah.
I'll send it in anyway.
One word description of Drax characters, red. But yeah, so this week is mine. It is my necromancer. He is very androgynous, apparently, which we've discussed in the show before, and he is very purple. I actually posted him. There's a Reddit subreddit called Guild Wars 2 Dye Job, which is a subreddit for posting pictures of your characters. And I posted him there this week, and again, his androgyny was confirmed. And but yeah, so he's very purple, he's very evil, and he's very gender fluid, I guess. And on to the lore book for this week. This is where we take a look at a place, character, race, or artifact and examine the lore surrounding it. This week I'm going to talk about Traherne because I can, and I love Traherne. Traherne is the first Sylvari to be born. He is the firstborn of the firstborn, so he is the oldest Sylvari. He's just the oldest Sylvari, and he's 25 years old, so he's not actually that old. His wild hunt, which is like all Sylvari get a wild, well, not all Sylvari, but some Sylvari get a wild hunt, which is a personal mission given to a Sylvari by the Dream. And his wild hunt is to cleanse Ore of its corruption. And if you've done the personal story up to, I think, what is it, like 40 or something, or maybe 30, you'll meet Traherne. Traherne has spent most of his life in Ore researching and learning all he can about how to cleanse it, and so he's pretty much the biggest authority in Tyria on Ore. He's also spent some time traveling and talking to other races, again, to help his wild hunt. And because of this, he's gotten some connections to even some of the more like withdrawn, secretive races like the Tengu and the Largos. So he basically, he knows the most about a lot of things. he works with a lot of the other orders, like the Order of Whispers, Derman Priory, and the Vigil. And I guess it's not really a spoiler because it's pretty prominent. He helps form the Pact, which is a kind of a meta order or whatever. Basically, it's an order that kind of unifies all the other three orders to help defeat the dragons and stuff. So he is kind of a unifying character in a lot of ways, and he just knows a ton of stuff. And I love Traherne. He's very cool. He's a necromancer, and he uses a greatsword. And so that's Traherne. You'll meet him a lot in game. So, what did we do this week in game, you guys? Anything cool?
We Zitanned again.
We did Zitan again. We 3-man Zitan again. That was pretty cool. It was a lot faster this time because we knew what we were doing.
Yeah. We didn't really wipe, I think, aside from once when it was just more convenient to do that than struggle to do it with the one person who was left alive.
Yeah, that's true. And Drac, you finally got credit for that, didn't you?
Yes, I did. That's the reason why we were doing it again. Is if you listened to the show last week, you knew my woes about we ran it last week, and I didn't have it active on my quest log. I had the living story active, and therefore I didn't get credit for it. So this time I made sure that I had it active, and we did get credit. So I did actually finish my personal story.
Do you enjoy the ending?
I did.
Yeah. It was decent.
I liked it. I mean, it's you know, I guess they could have done more with it, but you know, what more are they going to do? Because it kind of bridges the gap to where you pick up the living story. So it kind of makes sense how they ended it.
Yep. We also did a bit of PvP together, which was pretty fun. Until the end, when we kind of
we did really good, and we had a really good time, and we didn't have any problems. And then that last fight we did a
courtyard match, I believe.
Yeah.
And if
someone thieved my enjoyment.
Thoros doesn't like thieves.
Yeah, I don't like thieves in PvP either.
If you've ever done PvP, you'll know there's a map called Courtyard. I don't know, maybe it's not called Courtyard, but like the map type is called Courtyard, and it's basically just a death match. You just kill as many people. It's not like the other ones where you have to go claim points or anything. So you just kill people, and the problem with that is it can very easily at the start of the match just swing rapidly in either direction, because if one team like kills off 2 or 3 of the other team right away, that other team is automatically at a disadvantage for the rest of the map, because like the red team, who has beaten the other team, basically they're all bunched up together. They're like all 5 of them are still alive. They can work as a unit. Even they're all alive basically. However, the other team who has lost 2 or 3 people right away, they're gonna be at a disadvantage because there's only like 2 of them alive at any time. You have to wait for them to come back, and they kind of just trickle back. And so, at any time, there's only going to be 2 or 3 people alive. It can be pretty frustrating if you are the team that's lost a couple people right away. And so usually with Courtyard, I see a lot of times the score ends up being like 500 to like 100 or something. And if you're that team that's only scored 100, it's not fun at all. And that kind of was how that last match we did went. But otherwise, up till then, it was great.
Yeah, I think I'm at like rank 11 or 12 now. I'm into deer anyway.
Yeah, and you guys were doing really good. Like you were both scoring like at or near the top of every match. So.
I think Drac was first for like 2 or 3 of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we had fun, and I actually enjoyed it a lot. And I don't really enjoy PvP that much, but I did. I had fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think PvPing with a group of friends is a lot more enjoyable than just solo queuing, because you're with friends, so automatically more fun. But on top of that, the communication, especially like if you're on Skype or something with them, makes it so much easier to get things done in the PvP match. So I highly recommend that if you haven't. Oh yeah, and Drac, you got a nice little gift while because we streamed all of this Zitan and PvP stuff, and Drac got a very nice gift from a viewer.
Yeah, it was totally unexpected. We were it was during the Zitan dungeon / fight, whatever you want to call it, and one of the people that were watching the Twitch stream wanted to know what all of our in-game contact information was, and so we gave it to him. And then about 5 minutes later, I get this mail in game, and then I see him in the Twitch chat said, "Go ahead, don't be shy, open up your email." So I opened up the mail once I actually got to a point where I could, and he had sent me a Shadow Bow skin. And it is the awesome sauce. It is amazing looking.
It matches your character very well.
Yes, it does. So I appreciate that so much. It was just, it was like I said, it was just totally unexpected.
Very generous gift, too.
And he said he enjoyed watching us stream. And we told him about...
thank you, Deeks.
We told him about the podcast and the site, and hopefully he'll listen to the podcast and come on the site.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. And not that it's Guild Wars related. Well, it kind of is.
Oh, no.
I had something else happen in Twitch.
Oh, no.
That I'm hoping got recorded for prosperity's sake, so I can go back and pull a little part of it out. Felicia Day, of course, the voice of Zolja. See there, I did manage to make it Guild Wars related and still get my, Felicia reference in. She is twitching a lot of games now, and I popped into her stream last night, and I decided I was going to ask her a question about if she was coming back to Gen Con. And she answered my question, but she actually said, "Well, Draculetta, I will answer that question." And I was like, "Oh my God, Felicia J just said my name." So it was awesome. So I have to record that for, science sake.
Right.
So I can have Felicia Day sing, "Well, Draculetta."
Oh my gosh.
And we'll be sure to play that on the show if I can actually find a recording. Because it's awesome.
We'll see.
Hey, I do the call. I have the soundboard. I can play it. So there.
Yeah, true. All right. Whatever.
There's your Felicia Day reference for the week. You're welcome.
There is your Felicia Day reference for the week, because I know you are all just waiting for it. So yeah, I think that's everything we did, right? Anybody do anything else exciting in Guild Wars 2? Not Twitch.
Not Twitch Felicia Day related? No, not really.
I'm pretty close to 100 gold, if that's a thing.
Oh, well, yeah, that's a pretty good accomplishment.
Yeah. Who knew that not spending it would make you get more?
Yeah, what a surprise.
Because, I don't spend all my money on dyes and weapon skins and
I
various cosmetic things.
I do those things. I spend a lot of money on dyes. Worth it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that's everything I've done this week. I did a digital painting kind of thing of my necromancer, and I'm really proud of that. It took me a while to do it. And I'll put the link in the show notes. But I was really proud because I've been practicing my drawing, and I follow a lot of Guild Wars 2 Tumblrs on Tumblr, surprisingly. And a lot of them are really good artists, and they do drawings of their characters, and they're all really, really good. So I wanted to, try drawing my characters, and I finally drew my necromancer, and I'm really proud of it. And I have it set up. I think I have the Photoshop layers set up so that once I figure out how to make a GIF, I could have a GIF of his glow, pulsing on and off, which is really cool and nerdy. But so I'm going to work on that. But yeah, I think that's about it. So on to Guild Wars 2 Academy, and this week we did get an email. It says, "Sometimes the dailies say to do fractals 1 through 7 or something like that. Does my character have to be level 80? Where do I go to join one?" So fractals, like I've talked about in the past, they're like a level 80 dungeon, and every time you do one, it's 4 little mini dungeons all in one. The numbers, like fractals 1 through 7 or whatever, refers to the difficulty level, because fractals have a difficulty level. It's not like the dungeons we have where it's like there's story path and then there's explorable paths. There are difficulty levels, and the higher difficulty level, the more agony you get when you are in the instance. Agony is a very painful debuff in these, and when you do lower level ones, you get items that give you agony resistance. So you kind of work your way up through these levels, gaining those little kind of orbs that you can plug into your armor to give you agony resistance. And to get to fractals, you have to go to Lion's Arch. There is a portal in Lion's Arch that will take you to the fractals kind of entrance area thing. So hopefully that helps you out. And if you have any more questions, please feel free to email us at podcast@guildwarsplayers.com. If you just have a question about the game, if you need some advice, just shoot us an email. And this week we don't have any new Patreon mentions, but we sure would love your support. To help support our site, Guild Wars Players, and this podcast, you can go to our donation page at guildwarsplayers.com, and you can support the Players Alliance Network, which is the podcasting and fan site network that we are a part of. You can get rewards, you can be mentioned on this podcast, or you can even join us on the Skype call and be a guest on the show. And we didn't get any new iTunes reviews this week, and we only got a couple comments, but mostly about the personal story and about how people are excited that the end instance will be soloable now and that everything's going to be back in order. And like we said, we definitely are also excited about this. So, if you want to contact us, email us at podcast@guildwarsplayers.com. And you can follow all of us on Twitter. The Players Alliance Network is @PlayersAlly. Guild Wars Players is @GWPlayers. I'm @Sithrith. Draculetta is @Draculetta_72. And Athelros is @Athelros. And, of course, you can also contact us in-game. You can find me at Sithrith.6741. Draculetta is Draculetta.7410. And Athelros is Athelros.3164. The Players Alliance Network has a whole bunch of live shows besides this one. Mondays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern is DDO Players News. This show is Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, and Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern is Lotro Players News. You can get to the link for the live shows at guildwarsplayers.com/live, and you can get to all the shows, the live shows, because they're all in the same place. Thank you all very, very much for listening, and this is Sithrith reminding you to look before you leap.